Hello and welcome to GOA365's election survey. Yes, it is pretty early in the day to have a survey, no doubt. But the election campaign per se has really taken off in Goa. Today, Goa is become the landing ground for a lot of parties who have got national aspirations. The original heavyweights were the Congress and the BJP, but now we have got AAP, which has been here for a couple of years. Past 2 years, it's really been doing work on the ground. TMC has just dropped in with a lot of force. Plus, we have the original local parties like MGP as well as Goa Forward. So, in this battleground, as we call it, Ranmale, February 2022, most likely. This is an icebreaker. This survey is an icebreaker. It will give our audience something that what we see on the ground today. It may change, may not change, that we don't know. We have done this survey and Viraj and his team have taken a lot of trouble to do a sort of, not so much as a quantitative but a qualitative survey. So I would like to introduce our panel, starting with Viraj Naik. Viraj, he is going to be explaining what exactly and how we have arrived at these figures. And then we have Valmiki Naik from AAP. Then we have Advocate Cleophas Almeida Coutinho, who's a political analyst but with leanings of towards the Congress, if I may take the liberty of saying that. Also, Giriraj Pavarnekar, political analyst with leanings towards the ruling BJP. Welcome guys to this show. And last but not the least is my colleague Samib Narvekar, journalist, quite well versed in politics, good analysis who have been watching over the years. Samib. Guys, I would like to start this discussion, this icebreaker survey with Viraj. Viraj, could you explain to us the various slides, the various reasons why we have put up the slides, the logic? Small intro first, Viraj.
So I'm from GTS Analytics. We are basically a technology-driven firm, and with a lot of experience of on-field survey and technology-related work done in Goa and also outside of Goa. The reason for us to do this survey was our passion for politics. Also, we realized that a lot of surveys which are being done do not really understand the political scenario in Goa. We being Goan have a natural advantage in doing so. Now, coming to the survey, we've divided it into two parts. So one is, like Glenn said, is an icebreaker. So it's too early to predict who's going to win and who's going to lose. This is more to do for the public to get an idea of who stands where. So what we've done is more of a quantitative survey, and a qualitative survey would follow in the second phase, most likely around December when we are closer to the elections. That's when you'll get a even better idea of how things stand and who is going to win or lose or who's going to come close. For now, we are just giving you a perspective of the approval rating of the current MLA and also the other contenders who are in the picture and where do they stand and who has an advantage at this point of time. There are a lot of permutations and combinations currently, and hence we have stuck to this qualitative survey for time being, and the quantitative survey will come later.
Yes, okay. Viraj, please, now this is the first slide which has come up, North Goa. So Viraj, could you explain this slide?
Okay, the first constituency is Mandrem. Now, this constituency has Dayanand Sopte as its MLA. He is known to be a giant killer. His approval rating currently stands at 45%, as you can see on the screen. Now, he has contested on Congress ticket and defeated the then Chief Minister. Then he shifted to the BJP and won the by-election. He is a defector, but he has gone to the people and got elected, unlike the others. Now, since his approval rating is around 45%, the challenges that he is facing is unity in the party. There is another heavyweight in Mandrem, and there is another candidate of the MGP, G. Tarolkar. He had contested the last election and got a sizable amount of votes. He is active in the constituency, meeting people, doing the groundwork, and is seen as a formidable candidate. Now, as far as advantage goes, the advantage is slightly towards the MGP because party unity is a big problem for the BJP, having two candidates in that constituency. As far as popularity goes, among those two, we have got a response that Sopte is slightly more popular. Parsekar's image took a big hit because he lost by a very big margin when he was the chief minister. So that has not gone well with the public. So currently, considering these factors, the public feels that MGP has an advantage in this constituency.
MGP means you're talking about MGP or you're talking about Jita Rolkar?
Jita Rolkar.
Okay.
Coming to Perne, Perne has a large BJP vote bank, but as you can see, the approval rating of the MLA is around 30%. That means people are not really happy with him. The main reason could be he's a deputy chief minister and the expectations are very high. Perhaps he's not able to fulfill them. Now coming to the opposition, there isn't any formidable opposition as such. There is no candidate, unlike in Mandre, who has worked for a long time, contested previous elections. But MGP has made his presence felt. In the ZP elections, both their candidate lost, but they lost by a thin margin. So there is some opposition coming up for Babu Asgaonkar as of now. But we would still give a slight advantage to Babu Asgaonkar and BJP in this constituency only because of lack of formidable opposition. The Congress is also very weak there and isn't something that will cause a problem to him currently. Bicholi again has sizable BJP vote bank. The current MLA is considered to be a good person, and his approval rating is around 50%, which is like mid ground, not very high, not very low. Now the problem with him is this constituency came very close last time. It was like a photo finish with Rajesh Patnekar winning over the MGP candidate Naresh Sawad. It is going to be a similar situation this time around. What is interesting to note is there is another candidate who has jumped into the fray, Dr. Shetty, and he is also gathering momentum on the field. Depending upon the survey, we feel he is not someone who is likely to win at this point of time, but will get sizable votes which could change the outcome of this election in this constituency. So it is very close to call, and that's the reason we are saying that it's neck and neck between MGP and BJP in this constituency. TV, this is an interesting constituency. It looks like it's going to be a straight fight between Nilkant Halankar and Kavita Kandorkar. Now interesting thing here is Nilkant defected from the Congress to the BJP, whereas Kavita Kandorkar was with the BJP and now has shifted to Goa Forward. What gives her a slight advantage is that she won the ZP elections, and the BJP vote base is also accustomed to her being in BJP, so they have some sort of soft corner. We are not very sure how much that vote shift will happen from BJP to her, because Nilkant being a defector is going to cause some problems for him. And due to the ZP victory and overall ground situation, we have a slight advantage given to Goa Forward, that is Kavita Kandorkar. Mapsa, BJP has sizable vote presence. The party is preferred here, but the MLA is not so popular. His rating of 30% denotes that he has not been able to meet the aspirations of the people and is considered weak. Now this gives a direct advantage to the Congress, just because the MLA is weak and not because Congress is strong or BJP is weak, just because of the candidate. The Congress candidate here, or the one who contested last time around, also happens to be from the BJP. He shifted to Congress just prior to the election. Now there's a rumor that BJP might not go with this candidate, the incumbent MLA, but since this is an icebreaker, we've considered the situation as it is. So as it is, if Joshua contests on BJP ticket in Mapsa, it is advantage to Congress. Here, MAPSA, there is small presence of MGP as well. They have been getting some votes in this constituency. AAP has also got some momentum here. They got around more than 2,000 votes last time around, and they are going to consolidate. They are going to improve their tally, is the response from this constituency.
Okay. Now, thanks, Viraj. Now, for these 5 constituencies, now Mandre, Pedne, Bijoli, TV, Mapsa, I would like to start off with Valmiki. The way this is going, I think you need to start with AAP now, Valmiki. Yeah.
See, I understand it has always been traditionally a BJP and Congress conversation, but over the last 5 years, people have seen what AAP has done. You know, after contesting the elections in 2017, and especially like you said in the last 2.5, 3 years, the groundwork that we have done at a time during the COVID pandemic when even the government, the elected government, did not reach the people. You know, Aam Aadmi Party provided ration packets, provided oximeters, set up doctor helplines, provided oxygen concentrators. We give food at COVID hospitals. So people have seen that, and added to that the Delhi model, where we have an elected government, and that government has also delivered whatever it promised to the people before elections, and delivered more than what it's promised. So that combination is unbeatable. So I expect, you know, even though Aam Aadmi Party is not seen on these slides, there are going to be definitely a lot of surprise elements. And like
even
Viraj,
in these particular constituencies, you feel?
I definitely, yes, and I like Viraj said, these are basically as of today. He's making some
Yes.
assumptions that these are the candidates as of today. So a lot of things are going to change, and like I said, the people's decisions also will.
They're very ominous statements from Valmiki. Anyway, Dutur, now you.
I consider this as the BJP heartland, and in the BJP heartland, the performance of the MLAs at least is below average. If you tell me it is 45%, 30%, 50%, it is poor, I would say. It is absolutely poor for individual MLAs. Then this is not considering the 10 years of anti-incumbency. I do not know whether this has been taken into account of the government.
Have we taken this into account?
Yes, we have definitely taken it into account, and it is playing a factor in this approval rating. So people have been very clear that there is an anti-incumbency. They have been
There
in
is
power
an
for
anti-incumbency.
10 years.
There is an anti-incumbency.
So there is a 10 years anti-incumbency, and if we look at this picture, then that Perne 30% and still BJP there, I don't think there is a problem somewhere. I can't accept this 30%. And one more thing is, you are coming at figures without the opponent on the other side. The candidate against these persons are not known.
As of today
Are not known.
Yes.
And when they are not known and such poor figures, I find there is something wrong with the government. Of course, I have been expecting that there would be an absolute public anger in the matter of misgovernance. I am saying that the COVID mismanagement, the government is absolutely corrupt. I would say that more corrupt than all previous governments. I have never heard of industry bodies taking up a public press conference and attacking the government. I have never heard this. See, you can Goa Small Industries Association, CREDAI, these are industry bodies.
Correct.
When industry body takes up a position against the government, you can imagine they have dared to come out. That much is the level of corruption. And as far as the governance is concerned, the potholes, I think, show how good our governance is.
I would like
And no, see, it is not that.
No, not that. I agree with the potholes, absolutely.
But it shows the state of our governance, and I am expecting certainly that the people will show the anger against the government.
Okay, I'm going to
One
put
more
you on a small
aspect.
spot. I'm going to put you, continue later, but I'm going to put you on a small spot
Yeah.
like this. Now, you are a Congress leaning
Yes.
political
Yes,
alliance.
yes.
So what, just one point I would like to make before you finish and then we go to Giriraj. What has the Congress been doing in the past 5 years?
See, actually, if you ask me, I would say Congress is rebuilding now.
With 4 months.
Yes, 5-6 months it is rebuilding. I'm saying that. See, right now, if you ask me, they had 17 MLAs.
Yes.
Now with Ravi, his son on the other side, Pratap Singh Rani, I don't know where he will be. Louisin is out. So almost they are 2 MLA party at this stage. So I am taking it, they are rebuilding the party. And if you look at this picture, then even as far as Congress in this 5 constituency, looks like there is some hope. Of course, I am not expecting that Pernen to go to BJP. Somehow I am not expecting that, but otherwise this picture, at least from my perception, how I have been looking at, how I have been analyzing it, how I have been getting the feel from various people, he's right, except Pernen. I don't accept this Pernen position.
My only issue here is now some of this thing we have done. It's a disclaimer. Right in the beginning, some of this we have done with the present candidates.
Yes.
I'm making it very clear. Like for example, say Bicholi or say Mandre, it is with present candidates. Now, if
No, but the problem is the other side has not announced the candidate.
Exactly.
So when you have not announced the candidate, the sitting MLA gets a obvious
Advantage. That's
so
my
it is
point.
now, if you ask me that Mandre 45, if the opposite candidate was clearly known, it may drop to 40%.
Before I come to the survey, I would like to just clarify on some of the things my fellow panelists have said. I think to say that government was not present, like Valmiki Bab said, ki government was not present when the COVID crisis was there, I think that is absolutely wrong. Including your chief minister, everybody was leading from the front. There might have been some mistakes here and there, but I think overall response to COVID was brilliant, and whatever lacunas were there were actually plugged in. If at all he is talking about the Delhi model, I think we should ask them how many mohalla clinics, the so-called touted health model of Delhi, were actually shut when people needed them the most. In fact, in Goa, while we were increasing the health facilities, in Delhi, mohalla clinics were actually getting shut. So they were not there. So I don't think Goa actually needs mohalla, the Delhi model of governance. As far as Advocate Cleophas Baba said, I think anti-incumbency after 10 years is natural. I mean, no government can actually remain immune to it, no matter how good or bad it is. There is a fatigue at times, I think sometimes people take governance for granted. I will give you a very simple example. The Congress government, which was there, could not even, take up the major issue like Zuari Bridge to conclusion. It was the BJP government from 2012 that actually had to come up. Then after 2014, it got new speed. So all I am trying to say is, even about the potholes, I think the Chief Minister has already given clarification. That from the promise, that from 1st November. See, in times of Congress, there were no roads. At least, we now build roads. Potholes, yes, I agree. But I think, the amount of road network that has been built by the BJP, whether it is internal roads, your highways. See, you look at any big infrastructure project, you look at the bridges, you look at the national highways, I don't think Goa has seen this kind of development in the past. And that is why, yes, there are a lot of issues are because of the ongoing works. I am not saying people should put up with it. But as CM has promised, I think 1st November, you will see a marked change. As far as coming to the survey, for example, Pedne is, I think, a very good example where you say that there is a certain degree of anti-incumbency against the candidate, but
he's not deputy CM.
Yeah, but he is still advantage BJP. So what I am trying to say is,
correct.
Exactly. So what I am trying to say is, we are too early for candidate selection at this point. But what I am trying to say is, it makes two things clear actually. That AAP is nowhere, and Congress is leading in Mapsa, which is again, we should not forget, is a BJP bastion. And again, the candidate itself has been imported from the BJP. So I feel, given BJP's history of being very early to course correct. I think this is a very positive survey, and even 50% approval rating, if you ask me honestly, is a good rating.
Just to clarify, there are a couple of things that I want to tell you. One is the approval rating of the MLA. It is a specific question that we ask the people, and the advantage has been worked out on the basis of what they say, considering the opposition as well. So we ask them, whom are you going to vote? So there are a lot of people who are saying we are going to vote for the BJP, we are not happy with the MLA, and there is no opposition candidate whom they see worthy of currently. I mean, there is no one who is strong there that they can say I am going to vote for this guy, but that might obviously change. So that is
likely it will.
That is what do you call it, is the limitation of this icebreaker, because there are a lot of permutations and combinations that can happen over the period of next 2 months.
That is why it is an icebreaker. Giriraj, just
Sir,
to the
absolutely.
point. And one thing is you're being a little unfair. We had roads. Come on.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the new roads and lot of.
the problem with him is everything has happened 10 years back.
We
So
were at
it did not exist earlier. We did not exist as a state
and
earlier.
one thing now, you are selling up a little short. Why? I'll just give you one little bit of thing. Now, obviously the BJP vote percentage is around 35 plus. That's granted as of today. Congress is 20 odd. So is up. So I think it's very unfair just because the candidates have not been finalized on this, either for Congress or now who is going now. TMC is come now. TMC is going to hit who? Up, doubtful. Congress.
No, I agree, Glenn, because Viraj made it very clear. These numbers we are seeing is not vote share.
No.
These are approval ratings of the sitting
Vote share,
MLAs.
I'm telling
It's
you.
very clear.
Vote share, I'm telling you.
Right. So
Yeah.
my point is that AAP will obviously not figure in this because we don't have a sitting MLA. But what I also want to say, first of all, I want to highlight Giriraj's statement is that today he is saying that Goan should be happy with the BJP government and with the potholed roads because in Congress times there were no roads. So
I
he's
never
saying-
said,
so
Goan
he's
should be
telling
happy
Goans
with
you should be
this.
happy, vote for BJP and vote for potholed roads. This is the message he has given. But as far as these particular constituencies are concerned, I just want to make a couple of comments. For example, Mandre and Pedne, I completely agree with the advantage that Viraj has mentioned here. Because in Mandre what has happened, in Mandre and Pedne, both the elected MLAs
Not
jumped
for all
parties,
reasons, not
correct?
for reasons.
They
Yes.
jumped parties.
Yes.
But in Mandre, the person who was the BJP candidate who lost has not been rehabilitated, whereas in Pedne, the threat to Mr. Asgaonkar has been rehabilitated. So I think this is a very important point, right? Because BJP has cleared the way for Mr. Asgaonkar to win, and that is why he's showing advantage BJP there, because Mr. Arlekar has now been made governor, whereas Mr. Parsekar is still left in the lurch, and that is why he's a threat, and that is why it is advantage LJP in Pedne. Am I correct, Viraj?
No, but when you say that with 30% rating of a MLA, however much you do, it may be very difficult.
Again, I'm saying this is 30% of Mr. Asgaonkar as a MLA.
Correct.
But
Not
overall, the vote share of BJP is still strong because he has no competition now.
Okay, yeah, correct. I agree. Now, this specific point, I think my colleague Samip will be in a better position to give us a little more facts and figures, minus the politics and the roads and the potholes.
So when we look about the 2017 elections, Dayanand Sopte, who was a BJP man, he then joined Congress and
Originally.
Yes,
originally was a BJP man.
correct.
So in 2017 he joined Congress and stood in Mandrem as a Congress candidate. See, in Mandrem there are many heavyweights, Congress leaders, like there are former Union Minister, also the former Education Minister. So before 2012, when Parsekar was a MLA, when he stood on, when he used to stand in election, he used to always get 34 to 40% vote share. In 2017, this is the first time in Mandrem the Soptes got 59.85%. So no past MLA, also the Parsekar had not got this margin, that 59.85% of vote share. So the reason is to happen what, when two heavyweights, means heavyweights used to tend, the votes used to get divided, and the Parsekar automatically used to.
Oh, that's a
Yes,
very
yes,
good
correct.
point.
Yeah.
You know, if you get
Yes,
the
yes,
point
yes.
what he's making.
I know of this.
Yeah.
Mandre
So
very clear
in
last time.
2017, the vote share of 34.1% has never gone anywhere. It was with Parsekar in 2014. When Sopte stood, all opposition got united. The ministers and all backed
Correct.
Sopte. So this was the major advantages got. So when he back shifted to BJP, he resigned from Congress, joined BJP, and in the bypolls, only competition was Jeet Arolkar. And former Parshekar was very unhappy with this decision. So sometimes our BJP managed to calm him down, and he said, okay, I'm happy. So the election went on. Sopte won. So never expected, but somehow that Sopte made a statement. Winning this election, I have become once again a kingmaker because Parsekar supported Jeet Arolkar. This was his direct allegations. During 2017 and bypolls, MGP was there, but it had no face.
And basically what you're saying is that the votes were Jeet Arolkar's votes, not MGP.
Not MGP votes, because Jeet Arolkar stood there as independent at that time of the
This is
elections.
the
Okay,
point.
okay.
This
Okay.
is the point. Yes.
So now Jeet Arolkar is campaigning in Mandrem in full swing.
Already started.
Yeah, on the banner of MGP.
He's campaigning, I don't know, as far as I know, he's campaigning
No,
under
he's
the banner of
campaigning.
Jeet Arolkar.
No, Jeet Arolkar is now campaigning under the banner of MGP.
Okay.
And MGP still has a good base in Mandrem. So the Jeet Arolkar's vote share and MGP's vote share can make a big difference in Mandrem, as far as I know.
That's what he says. That's what our survey says also. I
So
want you to
Dayanand
go to-
Sopte might face hit.
But
Maybe.
I'm giving you
Now-
one.
now
Wait,
will
just
you-
before you. Just before
Will you
we
say
end.
that MGP has a 5,000 plus vote share there?
Because
No, yes, 5,000 plus?
5,000 plus?
5,000 plus, no, but it has a good ground, I'm saying. I'm not talking about the vote share, but MGP has a good ground.
Okay, now we are almost at the end of this first segment. So, quick, one minute
Yeah.
before we go to the TV and Mapsam.
TV was Nilkant Arankar was the first NCP, former NCP MLA, then he joined Congress. So there's a anti-incumbency factor. It's true. Because I spoke to many of the people, I went to TV and all. So they are saying the Kiran was better. So if you look at past ZP election performance, Kavita Kandolkar won with a huge margin. So it's really making a difference. Now coming to Mapsa, Joshua D'Souza. When BJP declared Joshua ticket, BJP strongman in Mapsa, Sudhir Kandolkar joined Congress.
Congress.
Yeah. So what has happened? Congress had a really what you say?
No
the
base.
Karyakartas-
Always no
yeah.
base in Mapsa, yes.
So I was covering 2019 bypolls, and we can see the booths and all, the Congress's booth and all. The Congress's booth were full of BJP's Karyakartas, former BJP Karyakartas. So in the past municipal elections, BJP faced little bit shaky because the Joshua's back panel was not able to form council. So few of the
At least initially.
yeah,
then after
initially, initially was not able to form council, but some councillor from the Congress panel and also Kiran Kandolkar's panel also jumped back and formed a council.
See this
So
council.
it's
This council, according to me,
but the member who jumped was a Sudhir Kandolkar's closest aide.
See, according to me, particularly when the party is in power,
Yeah.
ZP, municipal election, Panchayat
Council.
elections, they manage.
Somehow.
Somehow they
Somehow.
manage. Like even in Maharashtra, they have somehow managed. The Aghadi government managed all the local bodies.
Even though
elections.
they didn't fight it together.
Yes, they did not fight it together, and still they managed it. So according to me, that is no indication. And one more thing, Digambar Kamath, when she was chief minister, Zilla, municipalities,
Everything.
Panchayat, everything gets swept.
Everything.
So that is the power of the people in power.
Okay, now guys, we have come to the end of this first segment. Keep watching GOA365.